How is she?
I mean, she's fine. I think she's in some assisted living situations. I think they just got through relocating her. But best as I know, it's been several years since I've seen Helen, but she's still alive.
I haven't
That's the
seen her.
two. That's the two. And the one surviving Anna is my mother. She's, in it, mom's life. So she's in there by marriage.
When she left here, I knew you might.
Yeah, she's here. She lives in town.
Well, she came back. Huh?
Yeah, she has a place in Florida. She snowbirds in Florida a little bit, but she still lives in the same house.
You told her I said hi.
Oh, well. There you go. Okay. We're going to call it to order at 5:32, and we have a quorum because we've got Jeremy on the line. Jeremy, you hear us? Okay. Test your video, test your audio for us.
We tested, we're both good.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, Glenda.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Glenda. Okay, so. Sorry, I missed the sound check, Jeremy. All right, let's get on with the show here. So first item on the agenda is an approval of last meeting's minutes. Everybody's had a chance to review those. If so, I would entertain a motion
I'll make a motion to approve.
and a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, so the May 31st special call meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. Let's get into visitors and petitioners. Norma, are you ready to talk to us? We'll let you go first.
I don't think anybody had any trouble hearing me. I'll just stay right here.
Okay,
I'm coming to the council today to ask for your help. And I know you have some problems getting help for it yourself. Straightening up the property in our neighborhood that is falling down. And it's affecting the value of the other houses in the neighborhood. In fact, our house, we had it reevaluated for insurance purposes. And the man told us they devalued it $30,000 because of his house. And I know you all know who I'm talking to, and I went around the neighborhood. I'm talking about Ronnie Thompson's house, and I don't know the number of it. There's no house number on it. So I don't know what it is, but this is our house. I live at 59 Aspen, excuse me, which is the historical. And people stop all the time and take pictures of our house, so I didn't figure I was in any trouble taking pictures of all the neighborhood houses. Next door to me is Jimmy Green, and he keeps his house. He's had a heart attack and several stints, so, but he manages to keep his property up well. Next door to that, they have sold that house and it is being remodeled. I understand their son is going to be moving into that one. This is the house that, let's see who lives in that
The
house.
canops.
This one was remodeled and it was bought by a young couple. And I understand they have sold that and moved back to Illinois, I believe. Right on the corner of Second and Aspen. Jennifer Harold's house is directly across the street and she's made a beautiful little house of that. These four here are Ronnie's house. And these two were made last fall. These two were made yesterday. And the front porch is falling in more now than it was back in October or no, September. I don't know what to do. I need some help.
Okay.
What can I get?
well, we have a nuisance abatement program and we will step it up in that area.
For Calvert City?
Yes. There have recently been some changes to how we administrate that. And how we are going about that. So I think we've brought those full circle. We're going to have a second reading. We already had the second reading, the last at the special call meeting, getting us into better shape to defend how our ordinances are ordered, if you will. So doing some housekeeping, so when you come into situations where we're having to enforce it and expect to get some pushback, we're gonna be able to not be loosey-goosey there. We're pretty firm
I
footing.
know there's some ordinance that you can have a car parked in your, but it's supposed to be drivable and licensed.
Right.
Those have been parked there since 2009 and they do not drive. And can I leave this with you all?
Yes, please do. I was gonna ask if you would.
That is almost a
happy to.
historic district in there because those houses on that block have been there for years. For example, Jennifer Harold's house was a doctor's house. I don't remember his first name, but a doctor named Elliot when I was a little girl. And my mother, when she was pregnant with my youngest sister, who was 8 years old, went to that doctor. And I played in that yard as a child when my mother was expecting my youngest sister. So that house is old. That the doctor had his office in one of the, probably a bedroom of that house.
Ours, of course, was built in 1870. And it still remains on the,
Is it 1870 or 1860?
I'm sorry,
Was it 1870 or 1860?
1870. 1870,
Has anybody gone out there and actually talked to Ronnie?
I thought they did last year.
Yes, we constantly talk to Ron.
I mean, what does he just say? No, he's not gonna do it, or?
well, he's had a stack of lumber in his, towing truck down at his shop since sometime last fall.
Mhm.
And I got all excited. I thought I was gonna do something, you know. Well, it's been there ever since, so. I don't know, and of course, his shop, he I almost had an accident the other day. He had a trailer parked in there, not a camping trailer.
Volunteer
just a
group.
trailer,
Like in
looked like
churches,
a work trailer,
sometimes
somebody.
volunteer.
And it was out in the street so much that I was coming down
You're
toward,
talking about around the corner at his place of business?
yeah,
Okay.
and this woman was fixing to turn in. And we couldn't, there wasn't any way we could both dog. But it was parked there in the way, but he's constantly working on cars there in the street.
Yeah.
Do I need to go any further?
I don't think so. I did look at the picture. You caught him at one point in time. He had the lawn mowed, and I asked John if he's been working with him.
Oh,
So Ronnie owns several properties around town, and he's been, we've had conversations with him on and off, and John has been able to get him to respond some. The fact of that, the house being derelict and falling in, it crosses the line from, and I'm not an expert on these things, but it crosses the line from being a nuisance to being, whether it's habitable or not. And John has to get another person to get involved with an inspection at that point, if you're after the structure of the house itself. Is that?
That's pretty close.
That's pretty close to, he's
Who is
training
your ordinance person now that you were talking about?
in the city.
Yeah.
Well, John primarily takes care of that.
Oh, I thought you said you had a new.
No, but no, when we have something with a structure that needs inspection, we go to an outside resource who's trained in these
Yeah, I have
things.
to get somebody to look at the structure of residence before I can claim. Or I can go in there and ask for demolition.
Look at the side of the house where this driveway is. The whole top of, I don't know what you call that board, is off, and it has to rain in there when
Yeah.
it rains.
You're right. I mean, it's one of those situations where there's been some changes that we had to change our procedures because how we had been handling it before, we couldn't handle it that way anymore. So that's been one of the issues. We've been changing some ordinances and some other things so that we can actually handle the procedures. Where before we were trying to let the court do some stuff for us, and they decided that's not going to be within their purview. So that's where we're having to change some things and do them more in-house now. So when we go, I just want to make sure that I've got the folks, and I've got some inspections for that. But like I said, I'm just, right now, we finally just, with this last ordinance, we finally got all of our stuff together so we can proceed forward now. Since we can't go directly to the court system anymore.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
And you know, the thing about it is, and I know you're trying stuff, but it shouldn't take 14 years to get something done. And whether
It's
it's,
been 14 years,
she just said that it,
14 since he bought our house and
Not-
restored it.
not what you're talking about over right here.
oh, I thought you said Ronnie's house had been like that for 14
No,
years.
I don't know.
Since
how long it's been
2009.
like that since-
Well, if it's been there, she's saying it's been in that condition since
For a
they
while.
they
Yes.
moved into the house in 2009, so that would be 14
The
years.
front porch has not been that way. That way.
Well, the top cars and the trucks.
Cars have, yeah, we've been doing, that's been a constant battle with them, but the house itself has not.
Well, I don't know when the porch started falling in, but, Roger and I married in 2015 and it was falling in then. But that's.
We took a piece off the side of the building back then, and then this has developed since then. I know that there was something previous, because there was an awning or something on the side of the building, we had it removed. We got it removed, but this is the front, yeah, this has been going for a while, you're right, but we went through COVID, and went through these changes, and so
Yeah, I
it's
know.
been a little difficult, but it's in the works,
It's deteriorating the whole neighborhood
yes, ma'am.
and everybody else seems to be, working toward keeping their property up.
Oh, yeah.
Granted.
I appreciate you coming out and putting
Thank you
the
for your time.
exclamation point on it. And, we've had, we know Ronnie. And we've been able to get him to do certain things through the years. And, it's not good enough for you. And I appreciate you taking the time and making us crystal clear on that. Okay,
And I'm gonna send a copy of this to Jeremy so he can see it as well, okay?
thanks, Norma.
But the part about the courts not addressing it,
Yes, ma'am.
I know we talked just a little bit, I don't remember discussing it a lot in council that they won't hear the case or they won't fine them or what will they not?
They won't
do?
hear the case.
I mean, I'm not doubting your word. I just don't understand why they wouldn't. And I was wondering if you went to the attorney general with that or somebody did, would that help any? I mean,
What we're seeing, and one of the things that we found is this is not just Marshall County, okay?
oh, yeah, sure. That's
Because when I went to, it was the City Officials Academy this year. I found out that this is statewide. And district courts are not gonna hear a lot of these civil matters, or they're calling them, we had them listed as criminal matters. They want us to look at them as civil matters. And so that's the change. And so that district court won't hear that until after it's gone through all the processes of code enforcement type setup. So what's going to happen is we'll start our code enforcement. And if they want a hearing, appeal my judgment, then it will come to you guys and you'll do a public hearing on it.
and then what will we be able to do?
Well, you'll make the ruling, and then whatever that ruling is, if they want to appeal your ruling, then it goes to district court then, but not until afterwards.
Have we actually sent anything to court and had them to refuse it?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, that's what I'm just
And-
asking,
I had-
yeah.
4 or 5 case, was it 4? It was a number of cases that we sent and they sent them back and would not give me the summons.
Is it because we're an incorporated city or is it just they don't
No,
want
it's
to?
because their workload. It's not because they're trying to be ugly. It's just that their case workload with criminal matters is so voluminous that they cannot handle that and these city ordinances. So-
And I guess what I'm saying, if we even got to a ruling, would we be able to enforce it then? If the council did, if it got to that point, if we're
I
not,
think it does give us that, doesn't it?
Well, we always theoretically have the enforcement power, but we don't know. We've never done that. It's never been appealed. It's never been appealed. This is that the procedure that's in place right now has been in place for several years, 6, 7 years probably. And we've never had we've never had one appealed to you guys. So,
But
but your response would either be an abatement. I mean, as a council, if it did get appealed to you guys, it would either be an abatement, which means go fix it and then put a lien on the property for whatever it costs to fix it. Or fines, civil fines. The abatement.
so we don't have any fines set up now.
Well, we have a fining mechanism But we've never had one appealed, so we've never had to put fines on them. But they're civil fines, they're not criminal fines. And so civil fines, once again, have to go to district court for enforcement. So it is they've made it burdensome. I mean, the statutory scheme for enforcement is burdensome. But so far,
And I'm
we've not had any appeals.
yeah, I'm not faulting anybody on anything. It's just an understanding of it, that we have all these ordinances, and then what's the use of having them if we
I
can't?
mean,
enforce it?
You're asking the same questions. We beat our heads against the wall when all this started happening.
And so this one's rather sensational. But we also have a few
Well,
other
there's-
spots around town
Definitely.
Yeah.
that are much the same mood. And so
Yes.
we've had a conference with other governmental agencies in the county and discussed this thing and have clarified, which we had the second reading on, straightening some stuff out and making sure we have our procedure, but buckling down. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to do it too. I think everybody hates to do it, but
And
I
you know,
hate to
you
drive
can,
by
you
and
can,
see it.
you can do the nuisance stuff. We all know how tall the grass is. These are the specs, this is whatever. But when you start trying to tell people what to do with their property on style points, then it gets pretty rough road there, because I don't always agree you know, with the way people choose to do things around their house,
Right.
but we all think we do. But then on the structure falling down, and becoming dilapidated, we've got to get
That would seem
another.
dangerous to me. I
Right,
mean,
we
for
gotta
his
get another-
safety too. And the other thing I was just wondering, just that I understand, I remember us talking at some point in time that what we didn't think about them doing when we said the car had to be licensed, that they can license the car and it's still set there. But the trailer, do we have any,
There's nothing that requires, they can have a utility trailer or a recreational
as he's not
vehicle
doing-
or something like that in their yard. Yeah, there's
okay,
nothing. along
okay.
those.
And I'm not trying to belabor the point. I'm just trying to,
I understand, and I know, I think with this.
and I'd like for
the
for
abandoned-
anybody else that's involved in this to understand what we're up against, that it's not, we don't want to do
Junk
anything.
vehicle is being revamped because of this change, is it not? We're not going with a license?
It's being discussed that, you know, we've talked about how do you at the same time protect people who have a project car in the backyard, or, you know, somebody's in the military or some, you know, who have a project car. And so Lynn's suggestion many years ago was, well, let's go with registration. Surely if it's just a piece of junk, somebody's not going to keep on registering it year after year. And so we'll be able to deal with it that way. Well, that
That's
didn't
not
turn out just
true.
exactly like this one.
Let me tell you, that is
Found it-
not
I
true.
knew we found out that one the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
and
We
like I
got
said, I'm
several
not,
of them like that.
We just made a change to the vehicle
Doesn't there-
protocol, right?
Oh,
Then we just go over to
Not
the
the last 5
state,
minutes.
the state law.
Oh, what we did there, you're talking about what we read last time?
Yeah, mhm.
That was going from
65,
from 5 days to
88, 40, yeah.
But the applicable state statute is very
Oh.
clear,
Oh, yes.
right? So
Yeah.
we've gone back to that.
Yeah,
Yes,
we repealed 95.
right. We've repealed Lynn's registration.
yeah, I thought we
That's
had
been
done
repealed.
something
That
about
got
that.
repealed last time. and
Yes.
So we're left with the state,
So that's-
state statute, which is maybe better, but it's grayer. It's not a black and white, you know, with Lynn's, it's real easy to apply. They got really good registration or not. Well, it's not that anymore. It's a less black and white standard. Is it junk?
But it's easier to, gonna be, I guess, somewhat easier to enforce because I say that, I may be wrong. But,
I'm gonna start a new standard. If there's a tree growing between the chassis and the bumper, it's time to go.
Or through the top.
Seems good, but it doesn't seem like.
I think Bobby had a question about the ordinance.
yeah,
not
I'm
us.
sorry,
It's-
Bobby.
I just wondered if our zoning ordinance didn't have come into play in some way.
No, it's a nuisance.
Not unless if they started junkyard.
It's not just nuisance, but the nuisance ordinance, which incorporates the state statute regarding nuisance, is the biggest part of the puzzle. It's not the only part, but it's the biggest part. We've also got underage people driving golf carts, and we've got all kinds of ordinance enforcement that becomes an issue. And we have historically tried to address that criminally to make it a little more toothy and to make it more workable. But the problem is you wind up overloading the court system and the prosecution.
Yes.
Prosecution system.
And that's,
And so it's just it just makes it difficult.
Well, the 42nd Circuit used to be the most crowded in the.
Yeah.
Now that's the circuit. but
Yeah,
the
Still,
district probably is the same.
it's indicative of what's going on in this area. That's
Okay. Before we leave the topic, it's important. There is work going on and it is aggravating the lengths it has to go. And in this particular individual, Ronnie, he's had property and we've taken action and done stuff. There's several pieces around. It's not like he hasn't been
Yeah.
in our attention. And this is important to the homeowners. Before we leave, has anybody else got any comments or anything they'd like to add to this, Jeremy?
I'd like to
Larry?
throw in just one observation, and it is. This has been a problem for 30 years. Since I came in 1990, it's probably been a problem for 100 years, but it's certainly been a problem for 30 years. And the city has done a much more effective job of identifying dilapidated buildings and getting those things raised. I mean raised, knocked down and cleaned up in the past 15 years. You've been 15 years, maybe 20 years than in previous periods. So it still is difficult because a place has to get dangerous before you can actually knock it down and assert a lien and recover it. And so you got to kind of go through the steps and you got to finally get somebody that's a building inspector that can say, no, this is dangerous to the people living there or the neighbors. But we have done that many times.
Well,
in the
we've
past
had
15, 20
Ronnie
years.
take down one of his trailers because of it.
Yeah,
that's correct.
right.
Yeah, I didn't
Right.
realize that one belonged to him, but I remember there being. a
But
trailer.
it
Yeah.
took probably 2 years though to get it there.
Right.
Like there was a lot of steps to take.
Yeah.
But his house, I mean, we got to somewhat worry about him. If it's raining in there,
Right.
then how much mildew does he have in there that he's breathing in daily?
It's that period of time between when a property becomes obnoxious and when it becomes dangerous. That's the part that tends to aggravate everybody.
And he's a
it
hard worker,
happens.
so I mean, I'm.
Yeah.
And I
You
think my
got
comments
concerns.
too were for all the property. It was that because she was here, but
Right.
it was for all the property in
Right.
general that we would like to see straightened up, and even if they needed help straightening it up, you know.
Right. And I think that it doesn't help to say it's been this way, it's been better or whatever. We know how we can envision it now. We want to be efficient at getting that taken care of. And this is an ongoing problem. I mean, we see it every time we go to KLC conference. There's always a session or two that's applicable to this. Other people in the county, other governments in the county are having the same type problems, and folks just have to go be able to have some conversations with people that they don't want to have. And then if you appeal to the common sense, it's easy. And if you can't, it's not easy. And we just have to stay persistent.
We have several structures that are in this shape or worse.
Yeah.
And so it's not, it's one of those things, what's the
This is
most-
not the only one. This is just one that's brought to our
Granted,
attention.
and I understand their concern, and I empathize with them, I really do, because it's not, or sympathize with them, I should say, because it's not, everybody else is doing a nice job on their surrounding homes, and I understand that. But again, we have somebody that lives here as opposed to a vacant structure too.
Okay.
It's just a little bit different in itself.
All right.
That answers my question.
It's tough. Moving on, we're gonna go ahead and skip forward, I believe, and get to some old business. Get on with the business ordinances, and then we'll do a round robin on updates or questions and then adjourn. Okay, we're good, Blair. Blair had a good paddle event Saturday. You ready? Well, no, we'll come back.
Okay.
The paddle event, how many people do you have in it? 58.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Looked like a flotilla.
Wait a minute, you said 59.
It looked wonderful.
Well, okay. Did you count Barry? Okay, there you go. Count the father-in-law, but not the husband. All right.
Just our hope.
let's move on and get some ordinances out of the way here. And,
Do you want to do the youth in the yard of the season?
Yeah.
okay,
Or do the last?
she's gonna do it in a minute.
Okay, fine.
Let's go on to consider the second reading of the ordinance, amending the last year's budget.
Linda, you want to address the issues we've got with the changes on that? There are some changes, and so Glenda's going to address them first.
Okay, so I was reviewing the budget tracking. And, when we do our amended budget, we're looking at our 9-month numbers, and then we're just trying to estimate where we think we're going to end up with those revenues and expenses. So we don't always,
This form, you should have, yeah, those pages right there show that.
sometimes we need to change that. So I was looking at that today and realized that in the airport money, we had gotten some more grant money, or I didn't have that as much as it should have been. Actually, today, John had ordered that Vert Tower, which that's $6,000, but that dropped back into our account today. So we had spent that. So,
Yeah, the
I
grant
need
came
to
in today
account for
for
those
reimbursement.
things like that. And then all of the expense that went along with the tree clearing, a lot of it was directly reimbursed, but some of it needs to come out of the 200,000 that we received. And
If you-
Tim, I'm sure, can explain that even
Well, if you
more
remember
about
that,
that.
we got a grant from the state. It was a one-time grant. And it was just a flat grant of 200,000 to help with infrastructure and stuff like that. It wasn't FAA. This was actually from the state. Okay. They had the funds. We used the funds to help pay for the clearing at the far end, because that was what it was for, the IFR approach on 28.
So I gave you the one with the highlighted items just because that's easier for us to follow along with when I'm talking. So where you can see up at the top on the other revenue, you see last year it was 367, 100,000. That includes several things, several small budget items. But the airport is one of those. And this year, with it being more with getting these grants, so that's why that number is higher. And originally in your first reading of the budget, it was 700,000, and I've increased that to 725. So that's an increase there of 25,000 in the numbers. Well, I didn't highlight the total estimated revenue. So that number did change also, the 5398. It was 5373. So that changed to 5398. And then you go down into the expenses, the estimated appropriations. And
But before you go on, you said the 5398 was
the 5 million,
25,
the
150.
5,398,000. Sorry, I didn't highlight it. I should
Okay,
have.
but I'm looking at what we're going to read here in a minute. And this shows that total available resources total estimated revenue went from 4525 150 to 5398. Am I not reading that correctly?
Yeah, total estimated revenues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is indeed what happened.
Yeah.
But the previous one that we had talked about at a special call meeting had a different, instead of having 5398, it had 5373.
Thank you.
All right.
Now I understand.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
Now
okay.
now I understand. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Gene.
I can see clearly.
Okay, I was trying to look. I've got.
So the
I have three
highlighted,
different
the
papers.
highlighted items are the ones that when she's gone
That-
through and she's caught
that
them, these
I've
are the ones that are going
changed.
to watch out.
Yeah. Okay, so then down in the airport expenses, I had originally thought that at year end, we would be at like 126,500. That's what's in this original budget. I mean, the original ordinance that you guys voted on for the first time last time. We've had the first reading. I'm going to change that to 330 because that's about where it's going to end up. And I thought, and that's substantial enough, I needed to make that change. So with those two changes, it's a net change of 178,500. So that is going to flow down into where your excess of revenues over appropriations, it was in the one that we had the first reading, 981,500. It is now 803,000. So then that in turn changes our transfer in or transfer that we transfer over to capital projects. So in the one we did, it was 2,485,886, but it's actually going to be 2,307,386. So that makes the net change in fund balance. Well, it's still 1,504,386. So because we keep it at the 6 million. But so then over in capital projects, those two numbers change, the transfer number in and then net change in fund balance, and then our estimated fund balance at year end at June 30th, 2023 will be 2,051,311. And in the other one, we had it at 2,229,811. Is everybody following along, or do you have questions? It was only a couple of changes, but it changes everything down through, or a lot of numbers all the way
Did
through.
you show it effects on the capital?
I didn't, I
projects
thought yes, on the capital projects on the amended
for the
budget.
budget this
And
year?
then I thought I'd wait till we get to that ordinance and then do that if you want to.
Well, it would be a quick thing, but either way, however you want to handle it.
Well, if you look at this next page with your highlighted items, so all it did was change this beginning number, which that's the ending number with our amended budget, and it flows into the beginning number for this next year's budget. So that, and then all that's going to change is the number down at the bottom, which is the ending fund balance, which we think we'll be at June 30th, 2024, which, these are estimated numbers. We hope that's where we'll be, which hopefully will be more than that. So that went from, I forget, it was 5 something, I think, and it went,
28, I think it was.
yeah, and it went, so now then it's going to be 340,
I think it was.
311. Well, just add 178,500 to it. I had that right here, but I don't know where. I had so many papers.
So we okay? Got it?
Everybody good?
You good?
It was 518,811.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna be 340,311.
Just so everybody understands why we're doing this and what it is, what this is that we're looking at. If you'll allow me, let's go back and do third grade civics for a second. You guys, being the legislature, do the annual budget. You guys establish how much can we spend for airports. That's what you do legislatively. The executive then spends the money, but is limited to what you guys approve. Okay, so as we go through a year, because we're a small entity, as we go through a year, sometimes as a group, and you decide, yeah, let's spend money on getting whatever the airport stuff is, or whatever. Decisions are made about certain projects along the way. But when you get to the end of the year, you realize, oh, well, that was not contemplated in the original budget. So the reason we do this budget amendment at the end of the year, before we start the next year, is just to confirm that those expenditures were made with your approval, that they weren't, that the executive was not running off on a lark spending money that wasn't approved. It's just that it didn't get properly approved by ordinance. So you're just amending the budget simply to approve, to cover the expenditures that were made in small decisions rather than ordinance decisions.
And in
So that's all that's really going on.
and then sometimes you realize revenue during the course of the year that was not predicted when we established the budget.
We've done this.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can do that, but that's not required.
Mhm.
Guessing correctly in your budget is not required. So if you guess wrong on your money coming in, you just guessed wrong on your money coming in. It's just budget. But if you spend more because you get money coming in from the feds, you got extra money coming in that you didn't know you were gonna have coming in. So you wind up spending those funds, but because you didn't expect the money coming in, you didn't expect the money going out. So your budget winds up not being large enough to cover
We got it.
those expenses.
We got,
Okay,
anybody have any questions? Jeremy, you good?
well, we don't always get it here in the office.
Jeremy, you good?
I work a budget at school too. It's completely get
Well,
it.
that's the sole purpose here. Yeah.
I'm good. John's messaged me all the updates that aren't in the packet. I'm good.
Okay.
Just a point of clarification on what you were saying. You said the budget is our budget. The budget is really the mayor's budget, is it not? And we
It's approved.
approve that. We approve the expenditure of the money and the executive branch spends it,
That's right.
but it's his budget.
Yeah, he proposes the budget to you guys and you guys then approve it or change it or do whatever it is you're gonna do with it. But yes, he does prepare it, but it does establish his limits on what he can do, on how much he
Right.
can spend on this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And so this is just covering all the bases, making sure that everything's properly, expenditures are properly approved. Okay?
Right.
All right. You want to read this thing?
I'm ready to read it. You guys ready to read it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Pass
Are
ready.
you sure? Anything else?
Pass ready. No, stop. Let's go.
I
I'm usually the
apologize,
one
but I
doing
gotta read. We've amended more than just expenditures, so.
You did that. So anybody who's watching understands as well. Thank you.
That's the simplistic view, which is. Okay, whereas the city council wishes to amend the 2023 budget to more accurately reflect anticipated revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year in order to document authorization for expenditures in excess of original budget appropriations. And establish the availability of funds for transfer to the city's capital account. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Calvert City, Commonwealth, Kentucky, that the 2022-23 budget ordinance number 2205 hereby is amended to reflect foregoing modifications as follows. I'm only going to read the newly approved numbers. I'm not going to read the deductions or the reductions. You want to read them off there, make it quicker? Yeah, they're right here. This is the one we're passing, right?
Okay, yep.
Okay, under the general fund. Estimated fund balances June 30, 22 is $7,504,386. Property taxes, $1,300,000. Payroll tax, $1,500,000. License permits, $1,700,000. Intergovernmental revenues, $52,000. Fines and forfeits, $8,000. Charges for services, $113,000. Other revenue, $725,000. So total estimated revenue then is $5,398,000. Total available resources then is $12,902,386. Estimated appropriations, general government, $965,000, police, $1,080,000. Fire, $133,000, street, $975,000, sanitation, $310,000, economic development, $245,000, parks, $515,000, airport, $330,000, fire training center, $22,000. Cemetery, $20,000, total estimated appropriations, $4,595,000. So excess revenues over appropriations is $803,000. Transfers out is $2,307,386. Net change in fund balance is a negative $1,504,386. Estimated fund balance is June 30, 2023 was $6 million. For capital projects fund, the beginning balance was $753,525. Other revenue was $14,900. Total estimated revenue, $14,900. Total available resources, $768,425. Still under capital projects fund, general government's $245,000. Street is, zero in police, zero in fire, $455,000 in streets, $222,500 in sanitation. Economic development is zero. Parks is $102,000. Airport is zero. Fire training center is zero, and cemetery is zero. Total estimated appropriations then is $1,024,500. Excess revenues under appropriations is $1,009,600. Transfers in are $2,307,386. Net change in fund balance is $1,297,786 to the positive. June 30, 23 balances are $2,051,311. And for special revenue fund, beginning balance was 592,651. Intergovernmental revenues was 61,500. Other revenue was 178,500. Total estimated revenue is 240,000. Total resources available is 832,651,000. For estimated appropriations, under police, it's 173,500,000. Under fire, it's 11,000. For total estimated appropriations of $184,500. Excess revenues over appropriations is $55,500. Net change in fund balance is the same, $55,500, and estimated fund balance at the end of the year was $648,151. There were no changes in the municipal water and sewer. And that's the read.
Mhm.
This is for the second reading, right?
Second,
It's the second
Motion to
reading.
adopt.
thank you.
Second.
Right. We're gonna roll call.
Okay, Councilman Babcock,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Rao,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington is absent and Councilman Stokes is absent. So it passes. Okay,
One down. Second reading of ordinance 23-05 to establish the personnel and pay classification plan and establishing compensation rate for employees and non-elected officials for the fiscal year beginning July 1 and ending on June 30th.
There it is. Thank you.
We ready?
Yes,
We're gonna read it.
summary.
Summary.
We'll summarize it.
I had it in his palm.
I could find it. The summary. I've
Oh,
got
I
the
didn't know it
ordinance.
had the
We
summary.
got the ordinance. We don't have the-
Sorry about
Pursuant
that.
to KRS 83A070 and Calvert City Ordinance 3102 B and C. City Council has adopted a personnel and pay classification plan establishing compensation rates for the various classifications of employees of the city and non-elected city officers for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024. A complete plan and ordinance adopting same is maintained by the city clerk at City Hall located at 861 East Fifth Avenue, Calvert City, Kentucky. That's the summary.
Okay,
Motion to adopt.
Yep.
Make a motion to adopt.
have a second.
Second.
Ralph seconds it.
Okay. Councilman Stokes, absent, Councilman Harrington, absent, Councilman Rao,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Babcock.
Yes.
So on this particular ordinance, last time, Tanara had a question. Previously, we had included the elected officials' compensation on this ordinance. Okay, it's no longer on this ordinance. So our elected compensation appears on last year's ordinance, this that we passed. So you want to give us a little
Yeah.
primer on this?
Yeah, it should not have appeared on last year's ordinance.
Well, it
got-
did last year's and the year before.
At one point in time,
Last year's.
you
the year
had.
before.
2021.
I
Yeah.
pulled out all of mine from when I first started and
Yeah.
it's on there.
It's not required by the statute. It's not required by our ordinance, and that's because the compensation of the city council is dictated. The procedure for adopting it is not the pay classification plan. It is dictated by statute. And
So
if
we
there-
only see it again when there's changes.
when there's an ordinance change, changing the compensation rate for the city council. You have to do it within a certain period of time, and you can't change it during your own tenure. You have to do it before the first Monday, and it's just dictated by statute. And it's when you stick it on this thing,
Uh-huh.
it's confusing because everybody sort of presumes then, oh, well, all they have to do is just change, and it's not. It's much more difficult
Thank you.
when the legislative body is
Thank
changing.
you for saying that.
You're
For
welcome.
explaining that.
You're welcome.
Okay. That said, that information is readily available. And, you know, it's the one of the part of the conversation is that maybe we're not being as transparent as we should be, but it's public record and,
And there has been no change.
has been-
Ask me, I'll be glad to tell.
yeah, there's been no change.
Oh,
Okay,
for
so
you
that's the only
guys?
reason,
Yeah.
no, that's the only reason that comes up because it's a change and some consideration that we're not being transparent with that information. So maybe we should include that in the city council minutes at some point. I don't have it in front of me today, what those rates are. But
For
we're
what?
not changing, just
Mayor
what,
and council,
yeah, just
it's 10 and 6.
10 and 6. There you go.
That hadn't changed. It's
There you go. All right. 10 and 6. With that said, we've got that one knocked out and we've got, is this the final one? 23-06, the Calvert City annual budget for next year, which will be 23-24, starting July 1. So
Okay. I apologize for reading fast, but I'll read it fast. Whereas the city council, city of Calvert City, Kentucky has reviewed the budget proposal of the mayor and has developed a budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 23 and ending June 30, 24 in anticipation of the financial needs of the city. And whereas the city council of the city of Calvert City, Kentucky has reviewed and approved the proposed budget of the Board of Public Utilities for the city's municipal water and sewer system, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Calvert City's Commonwealth of Kentucky that the annual budget for the city, including the city's municipal water and sewer system for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024 hereby is adopted as follows. Under the general fund, sounds like bingo, doesn't it? Under the general fund, beginning balance is $6 million. Estimated revenues, property taxes, $1,197,000. Payroll tax, $1,400,000. Licenses and permits, $1,470,000. Intergovernmental revenues, $51,500. Fines and forfeits, $3,000. Charges for services, $109,000. Other revenue, $520,600. Total estimated revenue of $4,751,100. Total resources available, $10,751,100. Estimated appropriations, general government, $1,049,200. Police, $1,061,446. Fire, $173,550. Street, $1,097,564. Sanitation, $343,460. Economic development, $248,750. Parks, $544,260. Airport, $154,350. Fire training center, $28,500. Cemetery, $50,000. Beautification, $0. Total estimated appropriations in excess of revenues of $4,751,080. The excess over appropriations was $21. Transfers in and out are $0, and net change in the fund balance is $21. Estimated fund balances ending fund balances is $6,021. Capital projects, estimated fund balance beginning $2,051,311. Under estimated revenues, we got $0 in all cases. Total estimated revenue is $0. Total resources available, $2,051,311. Estimated appropriations, general government, $260,000, police, $50,000, fire, $75,000, street, $902,500. Parks, $322,000. Fire training center, $26,500, cemetery, $75,000, total estimated appropriations of $1,711,000. Excess revenues under appropriated is $1,711,000. Transfers in or out is $0, and net change in fund balance is $1,711,000. Estimated fund balance year end for capital projects is $340,311. Special revenue funds beginning balance is $648,100. The only other item is intergovernmental revenues of $61,000. Other revenue is $169,160 for total estimated revenue of $230,160. Total resources available are $878,260. For estimated appropriations, we only have 3 items. Police is $217,405. Fire is $11,000 and streets is $300,000. Total estimated appropriations, excess revenues. No, excuse me. Total estimated appropriations are $528,405. Under appropriations is $298,245. Transfers in or out is $0, and so the net change in fund balance is $298,245. Estimate ending balance, estimated fund balance in special revenue funds is $349,856. For water and sewer, The beginning balance, June 30, 2023, was 900,000. Estimated revenues from operations was 2,365,000. Capital grants, loans and transfers, $1,588,380. Total estimated revenues is $3,953,280. Total resources available is $4,853,280. Estimated expenditures for operating expenditures are $2,227,700. Depreciation is $600,000. Capital and debt retirement is $2,634,080. Total estimated expenditures is $5,461,780. Excess revenues under expenditure. Excess of revenues under the expenditures is $1,508,500. Depreciation is $600,000 for a net decrease of $908,500. Estimated fund balance, ending fund balance is a negative $8,500. That's it.
Since I wasn't here, it's $100,000 generator fund, is that in the?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it was rolled over.
Yes, ma'am. That's in the
I
CIP.
mean, probably, I just didn't remember.
Absolutely. All right,
Okay, I'll do it again. Well, he's not supposed to.
okay. I don't know how we're going to end this meeting. Kevin's not here, but you can do this.
Okay.
You made a motion to
Motion to
approve.
adopt.
Oh, the motion to adopt. No, they didn't do that.
Right.
Okay, make a motion to adopt the budget for 2024.
Well,
Second.
Okay. Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Rao,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington is absent, Councilman Stokes is absent, and Councilman Babcock.
Yes.
So it passes.
all right. We passed the budget. Thank you so much for time and effort to the staff putting it together and for the budget workshop. And I don't know. All right, so moving along with the agenda, one of the things we need to do is talk about appointments and reappointments. There's a list that was included in the packet of my recommended reappointments to the boards. We are going to on one, let me read these. So for the planning commission, Brad Warning, Kathy Poe, Darren Seals. Public service or public utilities board, Steve Freeman. Fire training center advisory board would be Dustin Dunn and Tim Davis. Ethics board is Kathy Canup. And airport board, Dennis Mason and Donnie Travis. Board of zoning adjustments, Gary Traylor, Willie Kearns. And cemetery board, Jana Jordan and Mike Harrell.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't been able to contact him. I've been trying to reach him and I haven't got a confirmation back. That's all it is.
Just. So we'll get him next time.
You need a motion,
Yes, I do.
make a motion that we reappoint the name solution to the boards.
I second.
Thank you. So we do a roll call or we just do acclamation?
Just like-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't hear any opposition, so it passes. Thank you for the boards. I always say, when I get a chance to speak, the things that really makes Calvert City go. And I think it's a distinct advantage for Calvert City. We have great boards. We get good public interest and participation in this. And if anyone wants to suggest someone that is wanting to get involved and maybe a starting point for city government, please provide that name to me. And these are enthusiastic folks, and some of them serve for quite a while, but we constantly need to bring new members of the public in and through the process so we can have a better community. And I always want to brag on our volunteers. Some of these boards are no fun. And sometimes they can, create quite a stir and a fair amount of work. So I certainly appreciate all of our board members every year. So. Blair, you ready to circle back? Can I say that? I need to watch that. I guess that somebody says that.
She's already gone. They're gonna use them. So the press secretary that you say circle back around.
Oh, she's gone? I can use that now?
Said,
Okay,
yes.
I didn't even know which one it was. That shows what I pay attention to.
Yeah, she's gone. The paddle board was, or paddle event was awesome. We had 59, remember Garrett? 59 showed up. We had 70 registered, but 59 showed up, and I thought that was a pretty good number. And then a lot of people for their first time, they kayaked, the ones that use the fleet, the Tennessee Riverline fleet that we have access to. 3 little bitty kids. They lasted about 5 minutes paddling, I think, and then their paddle partner pretty much covered the rest. Yeah. But it was a beautiful day. Big thanks to the Marshall County Rescue Squad for following along, taking time out of their day to make sure that everybody got there safely. It's about 5.25 miles, so they did really well. And then afterwards, everyone went to breakfast at either Calvert Cafe or 50's Cafe. So it was really good, really good. Next up, we have our kids' music in the park. It's on the 24th of June. Dress as your favorite superhero or your favorite princess. And you can come and be there. And John likes to dress up, so I'm sure he's got a superhero costume somewhere in there.
Yes, princess.
I know he does. I know he does. Get your crown out, John. Anyway, it should be awesome. We had several. Julia Watkins is performing her electric violin, but also we'll have some local talent. There's a ventriloquist. She's 12 years old. She's going to be there, so that's kind of cool. The library is going to be there handing out some goodies. The yellow umbrella will be there with snow cones, and then creative cooking will be there for food. So it starts at 11 on Saturday, the 24th.
What's the title of the event again?
Kids Music in the Park.
Okay.
Yeah, kids music in the park. So it should be fun, and I'm excited to see how that goes. Same weekend, pickleball tournament. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 23rd, 24th, 25th. We have 176 pickleball players registered to play. It's going to be fun and a little nerve-wracking. I've never played a pickleball tournament before, so we will see how it goes. Gonna need volunteers that weekend, so I'll send an email out if you guys are anybody's available. Would love to help or have some help with snacks and keeping water things going and all the things. Then we have that the next weekend we'll have or the next Monday is the pageant. I've said this on the radio and I've sent out a news release. We are not doing registration at the door. Tell your friends. I know. This is a very big change, and we only do it because the last 2 years we've been an hour late starting, and that is having 0 to 35-month-old babies waiting an hour to get on stage, and it just can't happen. Yeah,
So are you telling me that everybody has to pre-register for that?
they gotta pre-register.
Okay.
Go online and you gotta go
It's gonna-
online and register online.
That's going to be a very positive improvement.
I hope so.
Yeah.
From the father of the.
Having girls and champions in the show, it's a very positive improvement.
Jeremy knows what it's like. And it is a madhouse when you get, there's 250 people there. And being an hour late is stressful. And I don't like being an hour late, even though I'm late to 90% of the things that I do, but particularly that I don't like being late. So anyway, that's on the 26th. And then you've got starting our, that's next Saturday, the 1st of July, we'll start the museum, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It'll be 10 to 4. Bobby's gonna lead the pack on that. Oh, good. That'd be good. So I'll send an email that has all the volunteer opportunities. You can go on there and just help me out for a couple hours. That would be great.
Since I was in the pageant, am I exempt from all the others? Just kidding. I'll
Oh,
be there.
let's see. And then for 4th of July, it starts at 10 a.m., goes until 10 p.m. or when the fireworks are over, which is usually, 9:30 or so. We've got cornhole tournament starting it off, music playing all day long. Every hour it's a different band. Inflatables, we have 13 food trucks registered. We have 30 vendors, arts and crafts vendors that'll be there set up. And then the fireworks parade at 6 o'clock, and then the fireworks at dark. So 9-ish, dark 30. Yeah. One thing I wanted to do before I scoot off is the Kentucky Department of Aviation sent us a video clipping of where airplanes flew into where they came from as far as the flight, the ones that registered a flight plan. They used that information and then created a video that shows where they flew into to get to Calvert City. Okay, so I'll send it out to you guys, but I really kind of just want to see if you can guess which state, John, Glenda, Brad, you cannot answer the question. Which state do you think had the most visits to M34?
And there's theme
It's in
music.
the
you should
eastern
be
side.
playing.
We'll say it's on the eastern side.
Yeah. So
You can
you're
guess.
asking
You
us
guess.
to
Give me
get to
one.
guess what state had the most flights into M34 airport?
Yes.
Where they originated from, the last spots they were on the
I've seen
ground.
this
Is that the
every-
question? Or where they originated from?
When
Right,
they're
where they
down
originated.
to the East Coast to the Midwest.
Oh, gosh. I've seen that.
No, what you got?
I'm gonna say Illinois.
Nope,
Florida.
nope,
Wow.
nope,
Missouri.
nope,
One more, New York.
New York.
nope.
Well, we're gonna,
You're gonna get blown out of your mind.
I wouldn't, I just knew you would know.
hold it. Maybe I don't understand the question.
South Carolina.
Nope,
Oh, we went to on the
nope,
coast.
none of y'all are right.
South Carolina.
Tell them.
No. East,
Between the East
eastern
Coast
side
and
of
the
the
West.
United States.
This is the place where the last time the planes were on the ground in the M34, or were
Where the
they?
flight originated. but
Where the
they
home
fly
base is?
plane.
Okay. So what is it?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yep,
Kid you not, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. And I was
Yeah,
thinking,
Number two.
I've got, yeah, I was gonna give away a cup.
I would have said
Get it.
Illinois, but you said Illinois seemed to make sense.
Not one filed a flight
But I
plane
went
out
before
of
you.
Florida
And she said no.
or West Virginia, either one.
There's a reason they call it Wisconsin.
My question, do we know what their final destination was?
West
This-
of Kentucky.
It was
I mean, like, if you look at this state.
Yeah, where we stopped.
no, because planes leaving here, not going to Florida, not flight plan. Florida was not even on our list.
So the question is, what was the most popular
Ah.
They're
destination?
not.
Yeah,
Where did those Wisconsin planes go after they left?
yeah.
I'm assuming back to Wisconsin, somewhere else, but you don't know. You don't know where they went. You know, they came here. And you know, planes have left and they're filed. These are
That's true.
filed flight.
Okay, and I
plans,
forgot,
okay?
sorry.
So where their actual final destination is, we do not know. We just know they were coming here or planes that were leaving here, right there.
Calvert City International. What else you got, Blair?
While I was sitting here, I got the winner for the
Midwestern.
writing contest, and that is Sarah Freeman. She lives in Benton. She enjoys skateboarding, writing poetry. She's 17 years old. She attends Marshall County High School, and she's a junior. Her favorite teacher is Mr. Clayton, and her favorite class is culinary. So that will be out in the Lake News this week, and then we'll get it up on the website as well. And then also the yard.
First name spells S-A-R-A-H or S-A-R?
C-E-R-A. C-E-R-A.
Oh, my.
So you know to ask.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Sarah.
Sarah. And then the winner of the yard of the season was Joseph Scholl. He has a beautiful house.
Yeah.
I don't know, beautiful house. The picture was posted last week, but anyway, I wanted to give him a shout out. So There you go. He does, yes. Yep, he'll have a sign.
He's got some nice pictures. You can see him on social media. His place, he really takes a lot of pride in it. I guess he and the Brown brothers all go to battle all the time over who gets the best.
They're good golfers too.
Yeah, yeah. They may talk trash on the golf course. It may be the common thread.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Okay, as long as we're already talking about the airport, let's just shake things up. Let's just do the airport update right now. Are you still formulating a report? I can come back to you later.
I'm formulating the report.
Okay.
It is, I have nothing to report.
Okay. Did you know where the flights originated from?
I had no idea.
Okay, didn't know whether you're on insiders.
cheese.
That's cheese smuggling.
Jeez.
That's better than some other things that have been known to be smuggled into Kentucky.
Unless someone has.
So anybody got a question?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. One of the chiefs want to talk? You guys gonna draw straws? Okay.
All right, well, I really don't have a whole lot to report. Would like to make a public service announcement possibly. So for the last couple of weeks, the county and Benton, they've experienced a lot of vehicle break-ins. And so I just wanted to let our citizens be aware of that and for them to keep their vehicles locked, their houses secured, and any of the possessions that they value, keep them under lock and key. As of right now, I don't think any of our citizens have been affected by this yet, but has happened. It seemed like it started in Benton and then went outside of Benton north and then kind of went over towards McCracken County. So it could come back to Calvert.
So they breaking things or this is crime of opportunity, opening and unlock doors?
Walking around, checking cars, seeing if one is unlocked and if it is, the valuables taken out of the vehicle. Some of the reports of valuables have been firearms, jewelry, money,
It's normal when certain things happen in the city that these people are coming in for jobs that this happens. Could fill you in on that if you would like.
But good thing would be not to leave it.
right.
Even if it's in your driveway, lock it.
Yeah, and as of right now, as far as like suspect information, I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
It's also, like I explained last time, summer's here, we got out of towners and we are enjoying seeing our visitors, so we're having fun so far.
You see volumes of call volumes go up a little bit there?
Yes.
Okay.
Volumes have been going up for different things like accidents, disturbances, alcohol related offenses. They have been coming up, which is normal for this time of year.
Okay.
And we don't live out of anything other to report. If you guys have any questions, I'm available.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chief Davis?
Medical calls, it's still high. That's, luckily, we haven't had a whole lot of fires, thankful. Another thing I would like to say it all the time, just be sure you check on your neighbors, especially if they're elderly. If you don't see them like you normally do, be sure and call mine or sheriff's office and get somebody out there to check on them. You know, a family member, maybe they went on vacation with them or something, but if you don't see them every day like you normally do, to check on them. We are getting into the hotter part of our year. That seems when it happens most. So please check on your neighbors, your friends. Just try to keep everybody healthy that we can.
Thank you. Dan, you got a utilities update? Okay. There is a well down for redevelopment this coming week. Yeah, and so we need some rain. It's been pretty dry. We got a smidge yesterday. So that's good. I think they're probably getting close to some red flag type stuff, as dry as it had been, low humidity both. There have been some talking on the press, but we do have a well down. It's not going to be a problem at all. But make sure that they're running high levels. That's normal. But Brad, you got something? No?
We've pretty much finished up most of the projects, the bike trail ramp. Hopefully we're going this week. Met with moneymakers and we kind of discussed options and placement, so. Hopefully we can get those in and we're just getting ready for commemoration.
Yeah, yep. Okay. It's back to you now. Projects update.
All right, the banners for the Memorial Park are in. They'll be up for 4th of July commemoration. I can't remember if the information we had to rework or work on a lift station down here at the Doctor's Park. That got completed. So we had some issues here a couple of weeks back, but it's been completed. The communication and water tower, the generator out there the install is complete now. Of course, mowing, we're up to mowing, and I'd say that we got a good response on our weed letters this year. A lot of people have dealt with it, so we haven't actually had to. We actually we've gone out and mowed right now, and that's probably the best that I can remember since I've been here. And the last thing is that we had the Vert Tower, which is a virtual tower, what they call it, but is a aircraft tracking system. It gives us the ability to track and log aircraft that come and go from our airport. That way we can get accurate numbers. The only thing it doesn't track is a lot of times military aircraft on training missions. So we have to try to get an estimate on those, but it will give us any of the civilian planes that come and go or do touch and goes will be documented. We can also set it up so we can track the aircraft as they come and go from the hangars, or track aircraft that come into fuel. And so we can get more information on them. And they track by bureau or November number, hail number, a lot of people call it. And it's really interesting to see. The state put a grant out. It was 100% grant. We actually paid for it. You know, we got the equipment, and then they reimbursed us for it. So it's operational. I come in the mornings and I turn it on, and it just runs throughout the day. So I kind of keep an idea of what's going on out there. And then KDA, or Kentucky Department of Aviation, also can log in and view it as well. So.
So how many weeks has it been up?
It's been about 3 weeks.
May I point out that gets all aircraft, not just the ones that file a flight plan.
That's correct.
So your numbers will be
Higher than,
more real.
Yeah.
More accurate about the total number of operations that we.
that's correct.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify between.
Because a lot of civilian aircraft don't file flight plans just going from here to Mayfield or something like that. Or if we're just going out and doing touch and goes, they won't file a flight plan. They just have to radio into Memphis or Paducah or wherever and then let them know that they're up and out. But this one actually tracks it, and how many times it goes through, how many times it takes off. It'll give me the take. When I've got the system up, it'll tell me takeoff runway 10 or takeoff runway 28. So I know somebody just left, or landing on 10 or on runway 10 or runway 28. So I know someone just came into the airport.
You said you turn it on when you come in, but it runs all night.
It runs all night. I mean, I just bring it up on the computer. Yes, ma'am. I just bring it up on the computer and view it. So
Military flights aren't on it.
some are.
Some are.
Most of the training flights are not.
Okay.
If they're actually documented flights, and you'll see those occasionally, there are documented flights out there, but most of their training flights are not necessarily on it. It's a really interesting system. It is. If
Okay.
you're interested in seeing it, I'd be glad to show you sometime. Just come by and take a look at it. It's really cool, the amount of information it has and all the different things you can do with it. That's it, sir.
Anybody got any questions on any projects? No questions on projects? I got one. Umbrellas.
Umbrellas are ordered.
But we got umbrellas now too, right?
Those umbrellas are so rickety, they put them up. And then at that point, they said, we probably don't want these out. Because of the nature, they were afraid some kid was gonna run out, they wouldn't stand up, and so they pulled them back.
So we still use those umbrellas under supervision.
They're Blair's, so
They're
yes.
Blair's. She's like, what umbrellas? Okay,
But when,
they're on.
Brad, you can elaborate.
Once the guy set them up, they were really top heavy.
Okay,
We discussed putting sandbags on them, but then we figured somebody would undo the sandbag for us and fill the fountain full of sand. So we didn't want to contend with it.
No,
These-
I haven't seen one of those round things work like you used to put sand in.
Or you can put water in them.
These don't have that set up.
And I may have said the wrong thing, because I kept saying umbrellas, but a canopy is fine, you know.
Well, we're
Yeah.
getting umbrellas. I
well,
mean,
we're gonna start here. So
the ones we're getting, if you don't mind,
go ahead.
they've got 100-pound base, they have wheels, they're aluminum framed, aluminum tubing, and they'll be big enough that you can move them, but not easily.
So I know where it's getting hot enough. We're gonna have questions. That's why I brought it up. So when do you think they're gonna be in?
They'll be in, I'm hoping they'll be in by the 1st of June or just July, 1st of July. I don't know.
I thought it was in next year's budget, so that.
Well, it is, but I'm trying to get them moved where they'll get here real quick at the first. And that way that we can pay it out of next year's budget is
I
what I'm trying.
appreciate it, and a lot of us, some of our kids, mama's.
I'm gonna appreciate it, I think.
There is one thing that I don't know where it comes into play, but I understand there's 3 beetles running loose over town. They've been over to Methodist
Oh.
Church in your area and been
Yeah.
around my house. Not causing any trouble at my house.
Stray dogs.
Running
Beagles.
loose.
Beagles.
Oh, beagle.
I thought he said beetles. No, beagle. No. Have you seen them at your house? In there? Yeah.
They're rabbit hunting.
Well, one was picked up and the shelter has it. So I commented on their post saying, please come get their siblings because they need to be together. I mean, it's kind of sad seeing
Oh,
them.
so we don't know who owns them.
There were more, there were.
I think they were dumped here.
I had my mother in the car and I saw 10 pairs of eyes coming up Maple Avenue the other night. There were 5 dogs and certain events happen that have a lot of dogs out and around. I think there's some dogs got disoriented and got here. I think there was a large group and they've been around here and there. We've had an encounter or two ourselves,
Of their
but I haven't
kind.
seen them lately. So if anybody sees them and they can call up here at City Hall. We can try to get county animal control out here. And I said, try.
I was gonna say, they said they wouldn't come unless it was.
So I have a certain amount of experience with people from my childhood.
Yeah, you need one? You got rabbits to run out there?
Those rascals are Houdinis. You almost cannot, you gonna put a.
Yeah.
They can climb, they can thorough, they can.
Yeah.
Just.
So I don't, yeah. Did they have collars on them?
They do.
Okay.
Oh.
The ones I saw did do, I almost ran over.
Dogs about town.
I try to get them out of the road when I'm
Small.
walking
Over at your house?
No,
and they'll follow me home.
it was over here.
Not church, I guess.
It's
Okay.
kind of better tempered dogs.
Right, beagle.
Yeah, they're very great.
Yeah, they are.
All American dogs.
Yeah, they are.
But keeping them put up is.
It's like Gunner said,
They're not for putting up.
Yeah, yeah, one across the road, we got about 3/4 of the way across and I swear, it turned around and looked. And the others is kind of like. And then they all came across.
Yeah. Yeah, they know the way around town. I've seen them a couple times. Ralph, you got something else to bring up? Tanera? Jeremy? Nope. Okay. I'd like to, we've had a contract employee pass away. Kent McEwen, who's Tim's brother. He passed away Saturday. So I wanted to, I don't know, some of you guys that run across him probably, and he was working some capital project stuff with Bob the last few weeks. It was unexpected, and I guess our thoughts with the family as Tim goes through this rough time this week of losing his brother. So And with that, I don't know what we're gonna do without Kevin here.
Call Kevin.
Okay, I will make a motion in Kevin's honor.
Okay, have a second? All in favor?
I,
Aye. All right. I need to brush up on Robert. I don't know if you need this. I don't know if you need a second for a motion to adjourn. There's something weird about a motion to adjourn.
Linda.
No, I don't think you need a second. I think you go to vote.
Second.
Robert, order.